Yes, a very good evening, and you're very welcome to another Busy on the Ball here on WLR. It's myself, Gavin Whelan, with you between now and 7. Very shortly, reflections on the weekend's County Senior Hurling Championship Quarter-Finals. The semi-final lineup is complete following a thrilling weekend of action. It'll be Ballygunner against Mount Sion and Roanmore against Dungarvan in the last four. Next weekend, we'll reflect on a dramatic weekend of action. Later in the hour, we'll hear from Jason King about a big fun run which is happening in Waterford City from the RSC next Sunday, the 26th of September. Look back at the weekend's Premier League action, another dramatic one cross-channel. Also a look back at the local scene as the Waterford Premier League continued. We also have reports on some fine local winners on the horse racing scene at home and abroad. And we'll also look back at the other top sporting stories that dominated the weekend's action.
Same as last day, work rate, togetherness, being, concentrating on the job. We came into today saying it was a job of work and nothing more. It wasn't a derby match, it wasn't anything like that. It was just a job of work and do your job. And to be fair to the lads, they all fronted up.
Yeah, very good evening to you once again. Monday the 20th of September, and you're very welcome along into the programme. We are going to start with Gaelic games and reflect on the weekend's action in the County Senior Hurling Championship Quarter-Finals. That was Dungarvan manager Peter Smith there chatting to Tomás McCarthy after their derby win over Abbeyside in the final quarter-final of the weekend in the Fairfield Sunshine yesterday. County hurler Patrick Kern with 2-10 and county footballer Michael Kiley with 3-2, firing the Old Borough to a 10-point win over their crosstown rivals Abbeyside in front of 1,500 fans at Fairfield yesterday. Kiley has netted 5 goals in 3 games for the Blues, while Kern converted 2 second-half penalties. The Blues haven't reached a county final since 2012, and now Roanmore stand in their way at Welch Park next Sunday. The semi-final draws, of course, made after that game yesterday, and the semi-final lineup, I'm sure you know by now, it'll be Ballygunner, the defending champions, to take on Eastern rivals Mount Sion at 4:30 in Welch Park on Saturday afternoon. We'll have that game live in WLR as well, all thanks to George Corbett Skoda. Coverage commencing from 4:15, and then on Sunday afternoon it's back to the city venue for Roanmore against Dungarvan. They throw in at 1:30 for a place in this year's county final. But let's get some post-match reaction to that fine victory for Dungarvan yesterday, and after the full-time whistle, our own Tomás McCarthy spoke to Dungarvan centre-back and inter-county star Darragh Lyons.
Look, it's great to get over the line. That was a titanic battle there. I don't think the scoreboard actually reflected how tight of a game that was. It was ball for ball. Everyone was just going at it, and look, it's a local derby, but it was one step further for us, and we're really looking forward to next week again.
You say goals win games, and they really made the difference today. There are 3 for Michael Kiley, and there was 2 penalties for Patrick Kern.
Yeah, look, geez, I didn't realise Kiley got 3. If you look at our forwards this year, I think they're working hard and they're getting rewards for that. In fairness to the lads, they're really putting in a great shift, and maybe the scoreboard is starting to turn in their favour then on top of that.
Is Michael Kiley having his best season for Dungarvan, do you think?
Oh, definitely. Michael is really going well now. He's he put his head down, he's working hard. He's going really well for us, and look, next week's another day for him, and we'll need him again next week if we're going to get over the line.
What sort of impression has Peter Smith made behind the scenes this season, Darragh?
Look, Peter and his management have been great since they came involved there. They're really just a breath of fresh air for us, something different, something we're not used to, I suppose. And look, we're delighted to be in a county semi-final.
What's it going to be like back in the bridge? Coffee with Conor Prunty when you meet up later on the week?
Look, self and Conor have great respect for each other. We get on really well, and unfortunately the way sport is, one fellow was going to get over the line, but look, it was great working together. We know each other really well, and look, it's just a game at the end of the day, and we'll be back friends again later on.
What are your thoughts on the semi-final draw playing Roanmore now next weekend?
Look, anyone you get at this stage of the championship is going to be a real tough game. Roanmore have been phenomenal, a great game last night, and been really good this year, playing to a great system, and they're a really hard team to beat. And look, we're under no illusions. Next week we'll have to be at our best to date to get into a county final.
We are WLR.
We are Ireland's local station of the year.
Yeah, Darragh Lyons there chatting to Tomás McCarthy after the Old Borough scored a impressive 5-16 to 118 victory over Abbeyside in yesterday's quarter-final. They'll face Roanmore in the last 4. Back to Saturday's action, and Saturday afternoon in the Fairfield Sunshine, Pádraig Mahoney marked his first championship start of 2021 with 9 points as 8 in a row chasing Ballygunner fought off the physical challenge of 4 Mile Water in the opening quarter-final of the weekend. Darragh O'Sullivan's side struck 8 unanswered points on either side of the second half water break to pull clear. They are now 41 games unbeaten in Waterford. Kevin Mahoney won 3. Peter Hogan with 3 points, and fullback Barry Coughlin were the top performers for the winners there. Desi Hutchinson hit 3 second half efforts after a tough battle with Thomas O'Gorman. A game and battling performance by 4 Mile, who certainly gave it everything, but it was Ballygunner who came out on top with 9 points to spare in the end. Ballygunner 123, 4 Mile Water 115, and here was the reaction of Gunners boss Dara O'Sullivan, who spoke to Tomas McCarthy at full time.
Look, to be honest with you, we expected the challenge that they put to us today. We really expected that. We've watched them all year. We see how they progressed. We know how hard they're working, there. And look, in fairness to our lads, they stuck with it. Do you know what I mean? I think we got 8 unanswered points in the last quarter, which really just shows how these lads stuck to the process. There was no panic. They just stuck, stay going. And look, today was about getting into the semi-final of the championship. To be honest with you, Tomas, we're in the semi-final of the championship, and we know there's going to be a big challenge, whoever we get next weekend. And we're really looking forward to that challenge. These guys thrive on challenges, and they've got 2 challenges against Abbeyside, another challenge today. And look, we know that we're going to raise it again next week to try and please God get through that semi-final. But look, it's now about next week. To be honest with you, we'll analyse today. We'll look to see if we can learn lessons from today, and see whoever we get in the draw tomorrow evening, and analyse them and see if we can learn anything. But look, I'm thrilled with the lads. I'm thrilled with their performance. I'm thrilled with how they just stuck at it. There's no sign of panic or anything in that last quarter, and that's what it's about.
You see Philip Mahoney going on crutches there. Dara, what can you tell us about the nature of his injury?
Actually, Philip has a fracture in his, I know there's tibia or his fibia, but he's a fracture, so Philip is not going to play any part, for the immediate future anyway, But look, Philip's a huge part of this. You see him on the sideline. He was as much a motivational factor on the sideline today as he would have been on the field, And he's a fabulous guy. And look, there's plenty more Philip Mannies in that group as well.
Mark Mahoney made his first start of the championship today. Dara, what did you make of his contribution this afternoon?
We're delighted to get Pádraig out there, We obviously took him off for 10 minutes to go, But, 6 or 7 minutes to go maybe. But look, we're trying to manage him as best we can, because he's coming back from a serious injury, and he's had a couple of niggles over the last number of weeks. We're trying to manage. But listen, we're thrilled with Pádraig, Again, he's one of the leaders of the group, and we really need to have him out there. And you saw how well he performed today. And, next day he'll probably, please God, he can kick on and be better again,
They spot him. It's O'Brien who's racing forward. They could finish it here. There's men moving off picture. O'Brien goes solo, drills it in. Back in the net for Rowan Moore.
Yeah, we're moving back to Saturday night under the Farfield floodlights, and 14-man Rowan Moore have reached their first Waterford Senior Hurling semi-final since 2000 after a thrilling victory over Lismore. Gavin O'Brien hit the winner in the second minute of injury time for the Sky Blues. It was fitting the score came from him, as the former inter-county man was their go-to player with 2-8, 2-6 in the second period there. Ethan Flynn and Shane Mackey with the goals for Rowan Moore in the opening half, while for Lismore, Ray Barry was a hat-trick hero for them. He ended with 3-1. Maurice Shanahan with 1-9, the goal coming from a penalty, but it was Rowan Moore who held on for victory. They did finish with 14 men following the late dismissal there of substitute Paul O'Sullivan, but Peter Quealy's side are in the last 4, and they'll take on Dungarvan for a place in the county final. That'll be at 1:30pm in Welch Park next Sunday afternoon. Manager Peter Quealy, his players and backroom team were full of emotion at the full-time whistle as they greeted the victory with gusto and great effect. Here was Quealy's reaction. He spoke to Tomas McCarthy after the dust settled on Saturday night.
I suppose it's well documented at this stage, that Moore have come up short in a number of quarter-finals. It was, I suppose the word that they'd use is kind of a monkey on the back, that they put up good shows against good teams within as underdogs, and just came up short. And I suppose just a culmination of all them tough defeats, and look, I'm long enough involved with teams and hurling matches and stuff. When you pull out a win like that, where you're faced with adversity, on a number of occasions, with conceding goals at bad times and down to 14 men, and you come out the right side of a 1-point victory, you can't beat it. It's euphoric for this bunch, and like you said, they celebrated with gusto because it meant so much to them. And I saw plenty of tears there, and I know where they're coming from. That there was all that emotion came out there at the final whistle. Yeah,
you've really been in the hurt locker, Peter, the past couple of years with this group, coming up short at the quarter-final stage. What do you think was different about the team tonight?
The hurt. They felt the hurt. They felt the pain of previous losses. They'd worked hard, and they just I knew they were going to leave everything out there. Whether that was going to be enough to get them over the line, who knows, with a game with 8 goals, they're capable of going either way, but I suppose it could have went either way, and luckily enough, even if we had lost, they did what they said they do. They gave everything, absolutely everything, they just couldn't have given any more. We had 3 or 4 very good subs that we were keen to use prior to the match, but with 10 minutes to go, we're kind of looking around, we're saying, unless the fellas start falling down here, we're not going to be using our bench. And one by one, then they did start to fall down with cramp, and because they'd given so much, and like I said, you can't ask for much more than that.
Did Gavin O'Brien give you the leadership, Peter, when you needed it most, especially in the second half at those difficult moments?
Absolutely, he did, but Gavin would be modest, and he'd be modest enough to say he wasn't alone, that there was leadership all over the field. We gave one of our most experienced players the challenge of marking Morris, and I thought he was unbelievable at it. You saw the damage that Morris has done in this championship up to tonight, and he stuck manfully to it, and Frank McGrath that is and I have to he's one of many, there are so many warriors and stars and leaders out there, and yeah, you're right, Gavin was the captain, and Gavin stood up when we was needed, and we expect to get nothing less from Gavin, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Peter Queally there in conversation with Tomos. And back to Saturday afternoon, where 2016 Hurler of the Year Austin Gleeson shot 2-4 from full forward as Mount Sion squeezed past Eastern rivals Passage at Welch Park in the Waterford Senior Hurling Quarter-Final. The Dacia Star buried a second half penalty to put his side 5 points up, but a Killian Fitzgerald goal with 6 minutes remaining brought Passage level. Injury time points there though from Martin O'Neill and Stephen Roach sealed the win for the Monastery men, who shot 19 wides over the hour. Former county panellists Roach and Owen Whelan with 3 and 2 points respectively were immense, while Luke O'Brien was really commanding in the centre back position. A valiant effort by Passage, who had come out on top, I suppose, against Mount Sion in this fixture over the last couple of seasons, but Sion reversing that trend with a hard fought victory, a point in it in the end. Mount Sion 219, Passage 315 the full time score. And earlier this afternoon I spoke to the Mount Sion manager John Meany, who was pretty relieved to be in the semi-finals, where they'll face Ballygunner on Saturday next.
Yeah, it was a very high scoring game. You're right, Passage had the upper hand on us over the last couple of years, so look, it was a massive game for us. It was a massive result for us, and especially the way we won it when Patrick came back at us. But look, it's all good. It's all good when you wake up Monday morning looking forward to a semi-final, So that's it. Quarter-finals are there. We won it. So we move on for the next game.
Absolutely, yeah. It was tight and tense, as you always expect, I suppose, between Mount Sion and Passage. Very little to choose between the sides, John, and that's the way this game really panned out as well. It was up and down the field.
Yeah, it really was, Gavin. We played him, I'm involved with, this is my 4th year. We've played him 3 times in them 4 years. We've played him in the league, played him in challenge games, and Passage bring an awful intensity every time they play. Even going back to my day when I played against some of the lads, I said to them after I played against their fathers, they bring an awful intensity. They'll work. They're an honest group. We knew that even when we went 5 points up in the second half, we knew we had to keep going because they will come back, and they always did. And it's a credit to Passage and the Passage people. But look, we were lucky to get through that game. We worked very hard ourselves. We took everything they gave us. They thrown at us, and we built up a lead in the second half, and then they did come back, as I said to you already. They always do. And then when a couple of minutes left, it came to a draw, and we pulled out the last couple of points to win the game, which is a great reflection on our team and where we've come in the last few years.
Yeah, it certainly is a great way to win a game as well. And I suppose Austin Gleeson really stood up to the plate on Saturday. John finished with 2-4. Of course, that goal coming from a penalty as well. I suppose he had a big influence really on your victory on Saturday, John.
Yeah, look, you can say all the superlatives about Austin Gleeson. I don't have to add to it. But yeah, Austin is a big cog in our wheel. And yes, he stood up the other day. He got his 2 goals and 4 points. I think he said that. Yeah, he was brilliant for us. But again, the work rate of all our team was massive. That alleviates Austin getting space inside and getting to play the hurling that we all know he's capable of. But look, it's a massive team effort here. We have 36 people on the panel, and from 1 to 36, they all have an important role to play in this. So look, we're happy to be there, and we're happy he's going well for us, obviously.
Yeah, he certainly is indeed. Now, Regan was ruled out there before throw-in, John. Obviously, Richie Roach getting his chance in goal and obviously acquitted himself quite well as well. Is Ian going to be back in contention now for a semi-final, or is it too early to say?
No, yes, Ian will be back for the semi-final. Yes, he will be back. So, like, and Richie had to stand in there at the last minute, like, and for the chap to go on goal in a quarter-final of a senior championship, you know, it's a hard place to go, because if you make a mistake, it's really compelling, because it's a goal after conceding. But Richie done very well, acquitted himself very well, and Iggy was a great help to him and support for the week, like, you know, to build him up to it. And we're delighted Richie got his chance. He's working hard for the last 3 years, you know. So look, it's all good, and Iggy will be okay.
Okay, great stuff, and looking forward to the semi-final draw. Then, of course, they were made after that game between Dungarvan and Abbeyside in Fairfield yesterday. In case you didn't hear it, Ballygunner will take on Mount Sion 4:30 Welsh Park Saturday, and then Roanmore Dungarvan back in Welsh Park at 1:30 on Sunday. So back to the old traditional rivalry of Mount Sion Ballygunner. John, I'm sure you're really looking forward to Saturday.
Yeah, 2 good games coming up the weekend for people to go and watch, and it's actually great that the crowds are back. It's brilliant. The atmosphere there the other day was brilliant, like. But yeah, Ballygunner, Mount Sion, you need to say no more. Like, you know, they are, in the last 10 years, they've been the standard bearers of Morford hurling. Look, they've won Munster, they've gone on to contest All-Ireland Club semi-finals. They're playing at a top level. They're a very professional outfit. They're a very professional club. But look, we have to go Saturday and just bring what we can bring. But look, we know it's a massive test and task ahead for us. But look, we will be ready, and we will go, and we'll hopefully add to this game Saturday at half when the ball is thrown in.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it about as much bringing your own, I suppose, you know, work ethic and game plan to it, John? You know, sometimes teams can get bogged down on opposition and that as well. Is it just maybe focusing on what you can do as well and bringing your intensity to it, I suppose?
Yeah, look, Ballygunner are going to do what they're going to do. And, like, all we can control is, Gavin, I know it's all the things people throw out in interviews every day, but this is all we can only control what we can control, and that's ourselves, like, and we will work on that. We'll be ready. Like, this week is probably more about recovery. You know, we've a lot of tired bodies. This will be our 4th week in a row. You know what I mean? So we've a lot of bodies, niggles and injuries that we need to get sorted this week. So our medical team are working brilliantly behind the scenes to get all these bodies back right. But hopefully come Saturday, they will all be right. And we will come, and we will leave our club as a 10-4 next Saturday to go down and play a game. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Promises to be a fascinating battle. Of course, Ballygunner going for 8 in a row, and I know, you know, they're not talking about that, John. They're kind of taking a game as well, and you know, they were pushed to the limit by 4 Mile Water the other day, but still had 9 points to spare as well. So you know, I suppose they are the team to beat, I suppose.
Yeah, look, as I said already, like, the last 10 years they've been the team to beat more for, like, you know, and that's it. There's no point. There's nobody can. The facts are the facts, you know. But we have to go, and we've taken them on. I was looking at the game against 4 Mile Water. 4 Mile Water put it up to them. A lot of, I think they were level 10 times in that game. And again, as you said, our Ballygunner pulled away and ended up winning, seemed to be comfy by 9 points in them, but it wasn't comfy for a lot of that game for them, and I'd say they'd be the first to admit that. But then, as Michael Ryan, a great Waterford GA man, alluded to after the game, that, you know, like, this team can go on and win an All-Ireland club. So this is the level they are at, like, you know, that Ballygunner are at. But look, we have to just look after ourselves, I said to you already, and we will be ready come 4:30 Saturday. We will definitely be ready.
Bring it on indeed. Yeah, final point then, John, looking forward to the weekend. As you say, it's a fast-paced championship and games coming thick and fast, but I think that's what nearly players want, I suppose, you know, games coming week on week, and as you say, it's just about maybe recovery, getting the minds right, and, you know, I suppose, you know, just tidying up the hurling, I suppose, really during the week ahead of these big games. So roll on Saturday, I suppose, from your point of view.
Yeah, I suppose, like, look at this, we have a split season now with the inter-county and the club, and myself personally, I've been involved in this for the last couple of years. I think it's very good because it gives the club player a definite period where they're going to be playing. The only one thing I would have on is that the week-on-week thing, if you get a little niggle, you don't get time to get back. So you could be playing from January to September, October, and if you get one niggle in the wrong time of the year, you could miss a championship, like. So it's just, it's time frame more than that else. If you had a week, if you had an extra week here, it gives people players a chance to freshen up. But look, I think it is a good championship. You know, maybe just an extra week here and there in the championship to give fellas a chance to get their bodies really right and really have a go at it. But look, all is good. Like, you know, they're working behind the scenes to try and sort out time frames for all championships. But look, I think the split season is very good it's a defining thing for club players. They know when they're playing, and county players as well know when they're playing, and I think it's good.
Yeah, it's a valid point to end on. Mount Sion Ballygunner then 4:30 in Welsh Park on Saturday afternoon, and then it's Sunday 1:30 for Roanmore against Dungarvan. 2 mouth-watering semi-finals to look forward to. John Meany, Mount Sion manager, thanks for taking the call, and the best of luck now on Saturday.
No matter, thank you, Gavin, anytime.